Slandering and disgusting. So I actually thought about this all day long, whether or not I was going to preface the story with, I think cocaine, there's cocaine in the story as well. That I was once a huge degenerate, and that would be misleading, because that would imply that I'm no longer a degenerate. But the truth is I just act on my degenerate urges far less frequently. So, that being said, shortly after I graduated from college, a few friends and I moved to San Diego in hopes of kind of sowing our post-college oats, just trying to get laid, get drunk. We all had jobs, but it was like, you know, let's just go out, sunny in California, and have a good time. And we did that for the most part. You know, we would go out 5 nights a week, trying to get laid to varying degrees of success. Oftentimes ended up just until like 5 in the morning playing FIFA soccer on PlayStation 3, and a plate of cocaine. But, one of the really great benefits of this 2 years that I spent in San Diego was that I had a group of friends from college that all were born and raised in LA. And all these guys moved directly back to Los Angeles after graduation. And we endearingly called them True Beverly Hills after the 80s Shelley Long fiction. Because they were real soft, these guys. I mean, they were like, you know, they liked to hang out, they would go out, whatever. But they were all like the product of like nannies. And they all lived in the valley north of Hollywood. And, I mean, they were decent guys. And they were all kind of cocksuckers, really. So either way, they had a leader in their crew. And that's, I always found that weird. They had like a hierarchy to their friendship. They were like, much like the Entourage. It was like Entourage before Entourage. And that shit is terrible. So the leader of their crew was this kid, Jonah. And Jonah was the kind of kid who was, I mean, he had incredible wealth to fall back on, but really was kind of a badass. You know, he used to like drift race through Malibu, like Topanga Canyon, and like against Filipino gangs and shit. And, you know, in high school sold like tons of grass, college sold tons of ecstasy, and by the time he was 22, was like dealing with these like hardcore Russian gangsters in LA, moving like significant weight of cocaine. And for some reason, he really took a liking to me. And I don't know if it's because I was good at doing cocaine, better than the rest of True Beverly Hills. Whenever we would hang out, we'd end up like the two of us getting weird while the rest of them like caught up on their beauty sleep. And so one of the nights that I was up there visiting, we went out, and it was like the hill, it was like crappy, like the hills. We'd go to these clubs, and because Jonah was this huge drug dealer, we would walk right in to these, you know, really awful clubs like names like, you know, Buzz or like Butterfly, terrible clubs. And one night we finish up at the club and we all go back to Jonah's house. And he had this ridiculous spread, a house that no 22-year-old should have. Just floor to ceiling windows overlooking the lights of Hollywood and like right above Sunset. And we're hanging out, and you know, slowly all of his friends kind of start to fade away, and here we are. It's Jonah and I once again. And we're sitting there watching what I believe to be like the first ever like TiVo'd Laker game. I'd never seen it. This is 2002. Pretty sure it was the first TiVo thing that ever happened. And we're hanging out, and he says to me, he's like, "Hey, just FYI, I called a hooker about 45 minutes ago. She's probably going to be here in like 10 minutes." And I was like, "Well, that's fucking great news." You know, it's just the two of us. We're sitting here staring at each other and running out of things to talk about. And this is great news. I'm really into this. So we're, you know, 10 minutes later, the doorbell rings, and Natalia walks in. And I know that's a generic Russian hooker name, but that's the best I can do. And she comes in, and there's formality. You know, we're talking and hanging out, and eventually she kind of leads us downstairs to this kid's bedroom, and kind of awkwardly and slowly starts to take both of our clothes off, Jonah and I, and she kind of guides us. Now, it's funny, I was talking to a friend of mine yesterday about the story, And he was like, did she try to make you guys hold hands? And maybe at one point when I told this story, this was true. I don't know. It might not. I was going back in the depths of my brain last night as I'm trying to recall the story. I don't know if that happened. I don't remember holding Jonah's hand. But she did lead us both to his bed and kind of plopped us both on the bed. And we're both naked at this point. Natalia kind of shimmies back in between us and starts doing what I believe is, I'm not a big Urban Dictionary guy, but I think it's like a cross-country skiing thing, where she starts to hand job. And I think she may have been right-handed. So it's really awkward. I kind of like make eye contact with Jonah, and I'm like, you know what, this is his bed, this is his house, this is his coke, and this is his hooker. And I'm going to excuse myself in the situation. So I'm like, look, I'm going to go, he's like, yeah, just go to the bathroom. I'll do my thing. Natalia will come see you. You find everything you need in the bathroom. I go to the bathroom, and I find a giant platter of coke, like Hollywood size, and not proximity to Hollywood because we're right there, but like shit you only see in movies, like fine, like pure mound of cocaine. And so I start, I'm naked in this bathroom with these still have the floors, the ceiling windows, just like burying my face in cocaine. And he's got a boombox, and I hit play, and it happens to be one of my favorite albums of all time, which is Ween Chocolate and Cheese. So I start like pop lock, slam dancing around this bathroom by myself, naked, for who knows how long. And then eventually I find myself laying in a bearskin rug, and I find myself laying on this bearskin rug, completely numb, and this song Baby Bitch, which is a beautiful song, you should look it up by Ween. Really slow, beautiful melodic song. Laying on this bearskin rug, and all of a sudden the door opens, and it's Natalia. And she comes in, and she's like, in a Russian accent, she's like, okay, time to party. And I'm like, all right, Natalia, sure. And she literally gets on top of me, and she like looks at what I have to offer her. And it really was probably like a stack of pennies that you emptied out 3/4 like a bankroll and dipped in freezing cold water. There was not a lot of action down there. It was like my entire body was in a nitrous tank. And she literally flipped it a couple times. And she's like, don't you want to fuck me? And I said, yes, I do, but I don't think it's going to happen. And she kept just like trying to do things, and I was like, this is an exercise in futility, sweetheart. And she's like, and that's it.
Oh.